let me see where to start. I think I just finished telling the team, we felt like this was going to be a pretty physical game. We had a lot of respect for this team. They came in here obviously with a real good record, both how they played defensively and how they rushed the football. We felt like the rushing numbers were going to be real important when this game ended, and credit our players on defense, Vance and his staff. We got into some heavier fronts to try to take away one of their strengths, and fortunately we jumped ahead early on in that first half, and again, we have a game where we have 3 takeaways. I think that's 4 weeks in a row now. We were better in the red zone. There were a lot of things we did today that I was pleased with, and we felt like we beat a good football team. So, any questions?
Yeah, Sean, could you just talk about a couple of your strategies, both sides of the ball, the single safety, you said heavier front on defense?
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing new in our league, but just the personnel relative to it. So we just got into some heavier fronts that were going to make it more challenging to run it, and then with the idea that we were going to force them to throw it some. And they did. We gave up some completions, and fortunately, we held them to field goals when that happened.
And then on offense, it looked like you wanted to make sure you ran the ball first.
Yeah. We felt the time of possession. All these things that kept coming up in their victories were very, very telling. So how do you combat that? How do you approach that game? And we knew we were going to have balance. And then we were able to capitalize with some touchdowns and good field position. And I feel like we played with a lot of good field position. When you keep getting the takeaways that we're getting, you're going to have short fields. So, a lot of good things. I felt like, again, it was going to be a physical game. I felt like that was something that we handled well. I thought we were real physical. And in the kicking game also.
You got contributions from a bunch of different players in the run game in particular, and how important was Russell, just the ability to keep the ball in the RPOs?
Yeah, it was one of the areas on tape that you saw some other teams have success with, and so we got these heavy run section, nickel run section, draws, cracks, RPOs, and not necessarily always RPOs. They may have been runs that you're reading the end, weak reads, zone reads, and that was something that we thought would be effective, and we were able to have some big plays coming out of it.
Coach, you talked about the red zone, 2 of 2 in the first half. I think 3 touchdowns on your first 4 possessions. They were 1 of 3. How big of a difference maker was that?
Well, and when you get a team that rushes the ball so well, it's much harder to play them from behind than with a lead, and that kind of forces them to flip the script a little bit. Now, that's easier said than done, but we were lucky to do that, and that was something we wanted to do.
Myles Garrett came in leading the league in sacks. How pleased were you with what the offensive line did in terms of handling him today? Yeah,
listen, we spent like an evening just relative to the game plan with him. He's having a great year. Easily could be a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, and we just knew we couldn't let a player like that beat us. So, right from the opening play to protection, you're going to see tight ends. I mean, there was a lot of attention, and rightfully so.
John, you talked a lot during the streak about your guys and next play. Barron gets the call for the 15-yard penalty. It's still 17-12 at that time. What just your thought on the response for the team, the force of turnovers?
It's important because we're gonna. It's the nature of our game, and then the more you can condition yourself to tune it out. Because look, the next time we can get one of those changed, you let me know. And so it's back to that battery life. There were some frustrating moments, but that's the game, and we responded well.
Coach, you had 3 takeaways today, 15 during this 4-game win streak, an additional 1 in the 5 games. Just how important is that, and how proud are you of your defense for doing that?
Look, it's huge. It's if you're looking at the league in general with anywhere from 11 to 14 possessions per game, you take it away, you get one, they get one less. You take two away, you get two more, they get two, and then just do the math. So it was at that 1 in 5 mark that we were not real good with that, and then since that mark, we've been really good with that. So we got to keep paying attention to it, but it's significant.
Hey, Coach, how pleased were you with P.J. Locke's performance this afternoon?
Listen, honestly, early in the week, we weren't sure. You guys, probably, he was questionable, truly was questionable. And then as the week progressed, he felt better and better. And I didn't want him going if he wasn't 100%. And he because then, it's not good for anyone. But he felt really good. And so with the reps he had, and for him to come in and all those guys, man, they really it was encouraging, and you could hear that game. That was something close. You could hear that game.
Coach, Cortland Sutton led the team in receiving yards again, and it seems like he's maybe found another gear, or him and Russ have a different level of a connection than they've had. Previously. Can you speak to maybe on what you've seen?
I think sometimes the progressions take you there. Sometimes, depending on the play, obviously he plays X, so when you're getting some man coverage looks, that's the receiver close to you. And he has another catch they call OPI on, which I'll just say he has another catch. I don't know how many yards that was, but no, he's a leader. He's strong. He practices his tail off, and I'm happy for him.
Coach, what is it about this team that responds so well to a physical challenge? And have you ever heard of a scoregami?
Let me answer the first question. I think I get back to the leadership, and I get back to, the confidence, and I get back to the grit and all the things that if you play in this league long enough, that are required to be successful or have a chance to be successful. Give me your second one. Have I heard of a GOM? No.
Scoregami?
No.
It's a unique football score that's never existed in the NFL. You have 2 of them this year.
Which
today.
Why is that? Why is it unique?
29 as well. It's never happened before.
It's never been a final score. It's never been a final score.
You're saying there's never been a score 29-12?
In the NFL.
Yeah. Nor 70-20.
I like the second score, Gami.
On your right. Just going back to the Barron play a little bit, we saw him come over to you. Did he give you an explanation for the flag?
No, listen, they look, those guys worked hard, the officiating crew. They're tasked with a difficult job. Some of those calls are difficult to make. They got a challenge. They happen so quick. So we had good dialogue, worked with a bunch of those guys over the years. And, I felt like it was good communication. And so, it's kind of where it was at. And kind of goes back and forth. You get sometimes you don't. But they did a good job of communicating everything.
But Coach, on the Troutman catch, did somebody upstairs get a good view, or did you see it?
Well, I kind of saw it, and then the replay comes, and then every once in a while it was like that people's court where everyone felt real good about it. And yet there's always that, is it clear? But I felt, the whole knee thing is important, and so that was. I don't want to say it was easier, but it was easier, quicker to throw the flag. There was not a lot of gray area there, and a lot to gain with it.
Right, to get to 2 possessions, was that kind of a key moment, a 2-possession lead at that point?
Well, yeah, obviously we want to score a touchdown, but yes. It's significant. And if you do get in and it's called out, you want to make sure it's corrected. But that was a good play by, both Trout and Russ, and that was significant. At that point in the game, yeah. All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it.